how do you change the actual shape of your body? This video is gonna solve that. My name is Dr. Story. I've been a doctor of chiropractic for over 26 years. I help people with natural methods of improving their health, and I have had many patients that have lost weight, but they don't look any different. They just look like smaller versions of their bigger selves. So before they were big and round, and now they're just smaller and still round. But other patients have done an amazing thing. They've really transformed their body, and this is going to hopefully give you some hope that it can be done. It's just you need to follow certain rules. So get a pen and paper handy, because I'm going to tell you exactly what these people did. Number one, losing weight starts in the kitchen. There are so many diets to choose from. There's vegan diets, there's vegetarian diets, you've got the Mediterranean diet, you've got a zone diet, an Atkins diet, you've got carnivore diets, you've got keto diets, you've got Paleolithic diets. Then on top of that, everybody wants to argue about what time you're supposed to actually eat. Are you supposed to eat within a 4-hour window, a 6-hour window, an 8-hour window? Do you skip breakfast or do you skip dinner? But here's the important part that you want to remember. Your body, your individual body, will probably thrive on a certain type of diet. And it's based on your own individual biochemistry. What works for me may not work for you. Your body may totally thrive on an organic, plant-based diet. Whereas some people follow a carnivore diet. They just eat basically steaks once or twice a day, and they do great. So the key to losing weight and making sure you find the right diet for your own biochemistry is to allow yourself enough time. That's the key. You can try different diets, but allow yourself to fail. Give yourself time to figure out what exactly works the best for your individual situation. However, I'm going to give you some guidelines. There is no diet out there that exists that says you must eat processed foods, that anything non-organic that has a long shelf life is good for you. There's no diet that says the more ingredients that you can see on the box that you can't pronounce or even know what they are is actually better for you. Ultimately, what it boils down to is the less ingredients, the better. All diets, whether you go from extreme veganism to extreme carnivore, they all basically are the same thing. The less processed foods you eat, the better off you're gonna be. So what you do is you pick a way of eating that you think will work for you, go to the supermarket one day a week, and you buy all the food that you need for the entire week. You have to plan your meals. If you just decide, well, I'll figure it out as I go along, that almost never works. The people that lose the weight lose it firstly in the kitchen, but you have to plan and you have to shop. If I ask you in 4 days, what are you going to eat for lunch, and you don't know, then you're probably not going to succeed. You have to know exactly what you're going to cook, what you're going to prepare. Then you go to the market and you buy the stuff that you need. That is the key to having a successful diet. Number two, and this is the important part, without exercise, you will lose weight if you change your diet, but you're going to get smaller, but you're going to keep the same shape. It's the exercise that actually changes the shape of your body. Now, the big problem is this, that if you are extremely overweight and you have high blood pressure, one of the challenges is that when you exercise strenuously, that can actually be too difficult for you. It can be too dangerous as far as your blood pressure. When you exercise and you lift a weight or something like that, and you just strain and you're so much that you're holding your breath, your blood pressure can skyrocket, especially the systolic, and you do not want to end up with a heart attack or stroke. That is not a good situation. So for most people, the initial exercise that you must do must be at least easy to do that isn't going to raise your blood pressure temporarily. The second component of this is that extremely hard exercises you can't do for very long. So if you can only do an exercise for 60 seconds, you're simply not going to be burning off enough energy to ever really change your body. And this is why, if you are really large and you have high blood pressure, the best exercise would be cardiovascular exercise rather than HIIT training or weightlifting. You see, cardiovascular exercise has a number of benefits. Number one is, and this is very important, is that it does not raise your blood pressure really high while you're doing it. So for those who have high blood pressure, cardiovascular exercise is a lot safer. The second is that cardiovascular exercise stimulates nitric oxide production. And nitric oxide is a gas that allows our blood vessels to expand and become pliable, and thus that lowers your blood pressure. The benefits of cardiovascular exercise are almost immediate, but then the results can last the entire day. Another benefit of cardiovascular exercise is that it's easier to do when you're large. If someone is 350, 375 pounds, it's very difficult to actually lift weights and do things like that. Whereas with cardiovascular exercise such as walking, it's something that you can do and do for a prolonged period of time. And that is, of course, the absolute key, is that the longer you can sustain an exercise, the more calories you're going to be burning. And then as you start to lose weight, as the pounds start to come off, as your blood pressure improves, then you can start to increase the intensity of exercise. So once you get into better shape, you can start to add resistance training and start to gain better muscle tone. You can actually start to gain weight in the form of muscle tissue. This is the magic formula of how your body transforms its actual shape. So instead of worrying about the actual weight on the scale, you start to worry about body fat percent. So while you're losing body fat, you're actually gaining muscle tissue. So the scale may not be the best judge of your overall health. You see, nobody looks toned, jacked, ripped, shredded from just losing weight. They just look like smaller versions of their old self. So here's what you do. You start out real easy, something that you can do. If you can only walk for 10 minutes, that's great. Maybe in a couple weeks, you're gonna be walking for 15 minutes. You build up. You walk then 20 minutes, 25, 30, you build up. As you start to lose weight and you start to get in better shape, then you can start to add a calisthenic routine or a resistance training routine or weights. These two combinations, you change your diet and you change your exercise routine, is why Jack LaLanne used to say, exercise is king and diet is queen. And together you could build a kingdom, and your body is the temple.